What's going on, ambitious vet? I'm excited to bring you a benchmark episode 99, where we're going to unpackage the top 4 episodes all time listened to, 99 episodes in, to just celebrate 2 years of the Ambitious Vet podcast. We started this in 2018, where I had no clue how to interview anybody, let alone keep a conversation going with someone that I wanted to learn from. But 2 years later, and 70 plus hours of content later, we are about to release this episode, which is number 99. And before we get to 100, I wanted to make sure I brought in someone, Ambitious Vet, that you may not know, that's behind the scenes. Michael Parker, who's the podcast broadcasting director, who helps book these amazing guests that you get to listen to on a weekly basis. We're going to unpackage his 3 golden grenades that he thinks are the best for you inside this episode, and also what's next for the Ambitious Vet podcast and the network, and much, much more. Stay tuned, Ambitious Vet. Today's show is brought to you by Original Grain. They make watches with materials that tell a story. Designed in the USA, their handcrafted watches feature sustainable, reclaimed, and repurposed materials. They believe quality and craftsmanship matter. Original Grain timepieces are made for time well spent. Go and find out why this company has raised over $800,000 in 2 Kickstarter campaigns and is a 5-star in quality and craftsmanship across the board by visiting originalgrain.com. Find anything you like, Ambitious Vet, make sure to enter in code AMV Network 10 to get your 10% discount. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet podcast. We believe that if you desire more than you have in any area of life, you have to become more in the process. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Corps combat veteran, turned social entrepreneur, family man, and personal and professional development leader. On this show, I dive into the trenches with big thinking and conscious living veterans who know what it takes to not only pay the bills after the military, but really live with a sense of purpose, satisfaction, and career fulfillment we all desire most after we find our place out of the uniform. Grab your pen and paper. It's time to get in the golden grenades you need to break through your fear barriers and live a life of purpose with passion.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
All right, Ambitious Vets, we're right back inside the trenches. Man, this is something we haven't done since Thirsty Thursday. I think back in 2018 with Sean Douglas and Dan Dwyer, but this is going to be kind of like a tag team effort with our podcast broadcasting director, Ambitious Vet, Michael Parker. Michael Parker, can you hear us? Hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Chris?
What's going on, man? Well, what are we calling this? The Cowboy Roundup of 99 episodes or what?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So what do you think the intention is behind this unique, specialized show that's never been done before?
Yeah, Chris, I think we unpacked some of the top golden grenades throughout those 99 episodes, recap our top listened to episodes, and round it up with what's next for the Ambitious Vet Network.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And Ambitious Vet, this has been Michael Parker's project that he came personally to propose to me. And I was like, hey, you know what? Let's push some guests back for some conflict of interest stuff and create a better deal for them later down the road. And let's create, some kind of episode where we can slow down, kind of reflect on our loins, because sometimes we don't do that, do we? No. We just don't, right? And 2 years, Ambitious Vet, 2 years since 2018, this podcast has been in existence. Have we taken some breaks here and there? Yes. Near fatal car accident at the beginning of 2019, but 2 years, total of 70 plus hours of content. And this will be the 99th episode. And Ambitious Vet, I just kind of wanted to start this by just thanking you for the listener, because it would not be possible without you. So our sole intention behind this episode is, one, to kind of just have you kind of reflect on some of the top golden grenades that you've listened to over the past 99 episodes, and also pull out some of our our top ones and give you some actionable tips and share some funny stories from these past episodes for you to walk away with and start creating some real wins, right? Inside your life, career, and business. Also, we'll sum it up with what's next. But I want to kind of tee it over to Michael Parker, man. Where do you want to take it? Where do you want to take it from here, man? The ball is yours.
Man, I say a good starting point. Let's start with our top listened to episodes. I mean, we're almost 100 episodes in. Most podcasts don't make it to 10 episodes. And we've had some really awesome guests on here. I'm excited to hear who's next and recap over who's already been on. So, Chris?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I mean, we've had the honor, Ambitious Vet, as you know, to have some of the top thought leaders within the military world, and I think we've had a total of 3 or 4 super patriots that are civilians that are just doing some remarkable work for service members, mil-spouse, and active duty members. So, some of the top episodes that we went and looked back on, Ambitious Vet, that if you have not listened to these, go back and listen to these because these are killing it on the charts. One is Habits Around Money and Life with Daniel Kopp, a financial advisor. That was the first ever episode, Michael, and I remember still being nervous to this day. I was less like, oh my gosh, I probably sound so stupid to this guy. I'm still getting my personal finances together, and I'm just like, man, this guy sounds super smart. But, it's still to this day is the second most listened to episode since the beginning. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. And
That's
to
great.
think that you've come so far since then, man.
Yeah, just growing through all the learning too, right? So I'm learning right next to these ambitious vets that are listening to this, right? Like a lot of these people, they're saying some stuff that I'm just like, oh, wow, yeah, I need to implement that golden grenade, right? So second episode is Living Your Brand with Sean Douglas. That one to this day is the most listened to episode that we have put out. Sean Douglas is a really, really close friend of mine. And Ambitious Vet, if you have not listened to that episode, go back. He gets raw and really, really honest around some difficult situations in his life that closely led to suicide. And he has a remarkable way of telling that story, but also his hero journey from that most difficult position in his life. And it just inspires anybody that in your life, ambitious vet, or just you personally, if you're dealing with a hard time, it will inspire you into action. I promise you. The third one is Defining Your Success Along the Way with Josh Prado. That one was no surprise. Josh Prado is one of the most servant leaders I've ever met in San Diego with the 9 years I lived there. Josh Prado is just a brilliant networker. And Ambitious Vet, if you're ever looking to network within San Diego, California, or even in the Southern California region in general, leading up to Los Angeles, look out for Josh Prado. And the last one, Michael, man, would be How to Go from Shitbag to Shit Hot in Life, Business, and Career with Nate Schomer, a fellow Marine.
I was about to say, definitely a Marine. Who else has shitbag?
Right. That one is killing it on the charts. So Ambitious Vets, I would go back and listen to those. Those are by far the top 4 listen to episodes up into this point. Even if you're listening to this and you're just like, well, man, I really like episode 75. Let us know so we can promote those so other Ambitious Vets get the golden grenades that are inspiring you. All right, Michael, back over to you, brother.
Well, what do you say we dig into top golden grenades, Chris?
Yeah, let's round them up, Cowboy.
All right. Well, I looked through and I examined, top golden grenades out of these episodes over the last 100. And some of the top ones that I got is discipline. And let's dive into discipline. Chris?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think it's a trend because we're military, right? Like discipline is like make or break, and in the Marine Corps, I know we were both Marines. It's life or death, right?
Right.
If you're not staying focused down on that target, I mean, you may be losing your life or the guy's life beside you. But before we kind of unpackage those, Ambitious Vet, I just want you to know who Michael Parker is for the brand. I mean, this man is someone that is a Ambitious Vet Sprint alumni that came into our network through some of the giveaways we were doing inside of our Facebook group, and has since then evolved within the network, and is now, considered becoming vastly a thought leader within the veteran community. But he's coming from, how do I add value to something that's added value to me? And over the past now 15 plus episodes, Ambitious Vet, he's been the broadcasting director who's been so responsible for booking the guests that you've been listening to over the last 16 episodes. But not only that, but communicating back and forth with them to make sure they're powerfully set up with the discussion topics and everything else that has us give the ambitious vet that's coming in to be interviewed the white glove treatment that they deserve to be powerfully set up to provide the key golden grenades that you're looking for every single week. So Michael, man, I just appreciate all of that support, because it allows me to focus on the content, production value, and just staying tuned in to what ambitious vets want, need, and desire. So thanks for that, brother.
Man, I appreciate it. I mean, anything I can do to give back, the Ambitious Vet Network's done a lot for me. I enjoy listening to the podcast and get to help bring guests in that add quality to all of our lives. It's nice. I care about giving back, so yeah, it's nice to be able to give back.
And you're doing a great job of it. You've been getting tons of connections, resources, and opportunity within the network, and you're well on pace to start that rehab ranch in Colorado. So congratulations on that, brother.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and dive into discipline. So why discipline, man? Why is that one of the top golden grenades that you found going back to the episodes, Michael?
I mean, it's something that we all have as veterans, or else we wouldn't be veterans, because if you're not disciplined, you're not going to make it in the military, right? You're not going to make it through basic or boot camp, whatever it is you go through. But it's something that I feel we forget about, especially in a time like this with the whole COVID going on. It's easy to become undisciplined. But it's something that's instilled in us. So we just got to get back to that roots. Discipline is the practice of following a code of behavior. So adapting your behavior in a way to excel yourself, make yourself stand apart. With everything being at a standstill right now, a lot of people feel like there's no direction, and COVID's a setback. It's set a lot of people back and stopped people's motion. I mean, it stopped me. For a month and a half, I felt stuck and like I wasn't getting anywhere. And once you let yourself become stuck, it's hard to get that momentum and get going again, which takes a lot of discipline. So having the discipline to say, all right, I'm going to put in this work and move forward. Andrew Beltran, he in episode 87, he said, start today. Don't wait. It's so easy to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do it tomorrow. I did that. I was stuck with trying to figure out how to start my LLC, and I was like, oh, I'll do it later. And I pushed it back, and just next thing you know, it's been a month and a half and you're not gotten anywhere because tomorrow never comes. So taking that discipline to, instead of pushing things off, say, all right, we're doing this today, and start doing that today. Discipline, it's important. When I started this journey, I was homeless, living out of my car, Chris. When I went through the sprint, I was homeless, living out of my car. No job.
So I want to add to that real quick. Ambitious Vet, you are listening to this, hopefully. So he would show up to some of the sessions where we had the thought leaders like Dan Dwyer, Otis McGregor, Stephen Cullen, John Krotek, Hashtag what the fuck is alike anyways. John Crotech cracks me up every time. But anyways, guys, if you're listening to this, you guys that I just shouted out, thank you for coming in, because Michael would show up to some of those sessions and he would be in his car, Ambitious Vet. How many of you are listening to this right now would make that same sacrifice to sit in your car to consume content that are making you better? If not, look yourself in the mirror and ask those difficult questions, right? Michael, man, continue.
Yeah, and I started getting that momentum, and it took those disciplines. I finally found a job a couple weeks into the sprint, and then I had to face that decision of, hey, do I buy a place and have a roof over my head, a place to shower and cook meals, or do I continue living in my car and taking that money and investing it into moving this ranch forward? Ultimately, I decided to continue living in my car. Hell, I'm a Marine and a cowboy. I'm used to roughing it, right? Make do with what you got. So it wasn't that hard, but having that discipline to get up every morning, start my day at 7 a.m., drive over to Starbucks, sit there for hours and work on moving this ranch forward, leaving there, going to work 8 hours, getting off, going to the gym, staying physically fit, getting my showers, and then go find a place to sleep for the night and get back up, do it all over. There was mornings I didn't want to get up and do anything, but I knew I had to discipline myself. It doesn't have to be that extreme, like the circumstances, but those disciplines, that's what's going to move you forward. And especially if you've allowed yourself to get stuck by this whole COVID pandemic thing, if you've become stuck, it's harder to get moving again. And it's going to really take that discipline. So that's why I believe discipline is definitely one of the top 3 grenades. And it's something that we all have as veterans. It's just getting back to our roots and kickstarting it.
Yeah. No, that's great, brother. Thanks for breaking that down, because, it just reminds me of another story that, Ambitious Vet, that if you're listening to this, I do some volunteer work on the side for a company called Landmark Worldwide. And there was a Marine Corps retired gunnery sergeant that went through one of the programs in that program. It's personal and professional development, leadership development, stuff like that. A lot of the key topics that we talk about on this show. And I remember taking that retired Marine on a hike in southern San Diego. And, he told me, he's like, Chris, I chose to go homeless in the first 6 months of getting out of the Corps. And I was just like, you chose to go homeless? And I was like, what? Michael, I'm looking at you. I'm like, what? Why would you choose to go homeless? And he was just like, I chose because I wanted to realize that there was really no real threat in the world. And I was like, whoa, damn. I was just like, in that moment, I was on that hike and I was just like, wow, that's so impressive. A gunnery sergeant that, led probably hundreds of Marines in his time, right? Was willing to be like, yeah, I chose to be homeless because I realized that there's no real threat in the world, right? Think about that, Ambitious Vet. Really set and be with that, because that's so much profound wisdom, because everything that he did from that moment forward, he wasn't afraid of. Everything was fearless execution. And Michael, I see a lot of him in you and your fearless execution in anything. And even just like John Lee Dumas said on a few episodes back, staying one course all the way to the end, and how that actually, shows your grit, exposes strong character, and allows your, just your economical value to go through the roof in the marketplace, which Ambitious Vets, that's what we're all about, right? Increasing our value inside the marketplace so we can continue to advance and grow in life, right? Michael, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, you mentioned John Lee Dumas, and yeah, that's another good point there on discipline. A lot of times we want to start a lot of projects, and we're like, we have this, and this to get done, and we want to work on it all at once. Having that discipline to focus on one task and say, okay, we're going to see this through to completion, versus starting 5 tasks and not completing any. And you start to string together that chain of success. All right, so we got that LLC, and now we got to get this, and you start to string together a chain of victories and successes, and that also is going to help build your confidence. If you're like me and you lack confidence in things, and it's going to help build that confidence, and it's a little discipline there. Just focus on one thing at a time.
That's good. So you're saying you're super confident now?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I have my struggles. Which I guess will bring us to the next golden grenade, because that ties right on in there. So one of the other golden grenades I picked was self-talk and how we talk to ourselves. First guest we had this season, Matthew Griffin, he said, self-talk is important. And whether you go into it with the mindset of, I'm going to F this up, or, okay, we might mess this up, but let's learn something out of it. So how you go into that situation. I'm there I used to be there more so with the first one of, well, I'm just going to f this up, so why even try? Or, and you're more likely to mess it up if that's the mindset you have. It goes to believing in yourself, which of several guests have mentioned. Believe in yourself. You gotta, there's been, when I started this journey, when I first became homeless and jobless, I didn't have much belief in myself. When for my first experience with a life coach, he was like, well, why don't you create that ranch? And I gave him every listen to the book of why I couldn't do it. I'm not educated. I've never done something like that. I don't know this. I don't know that. He's like, that just sounds like a bunch of BS excuses. And I was like, wow. But I realized he was right. If you go into it with that mentality that you can't do it, well, you can't. Like Henry Ford, he's got a quote, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You tell yourself you can't do it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to put in the effort to do it. But if you say you can, then you're going to put in the work, and you're going to make yourself do it. Mike Nash, I love what he said in episode 94. He talked about mindset. What you say about yourself is more important than what other people say about you. And, that's something that I've struggled with. I'm sure you've struggled with it, Chris. A lot of people listening to this have probably struggled with that. You get caught up in what other people say and what other people tell you can and can't do. But in the end, it doesn't matter what they say. It's what you say about yourself. If you say you can do it, or if you say you can't. Yeah. What you got on that, Chris?
Brother, it's brilliant. You're articulate, man. You are a cowboy from the Midwest that is killing this conversation, man. Marine Corps vet. We should just eat some crayons. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding, brother. It's brilliant. What can I say? That's amazing that you know the episodes of when people hit those subjects. But yeah, every single day I have to spend 2 hours every single day still getting my mind right, getting my spiritual side right, getting my emotions in check. And everyone, when I tell them I have a 2-hour morning routine, people are just like, you're crazy, right? And I'm just like, well, you haven't been where I've been, right? You haven't dealt with the shit I've dealt with. You haven't walked 2 miles in my shoes. And, I'm a hell of a lot more productive when I spend 2 hours doing my routine in the morning than when I'm not. I just feel out of check. When we're in the Marine Corps, or your respected branch emphasis vet, when you're doing land nav, you had that compass. You ever felt like you just weren't in the right direction? If I don't have my morning routine, doing my meditation, doing some good Bible study through the Bible app, and reading 30 minutes of a great inspirational leadership book, business book, or something that I'm trying to develop a domain knowledge in to become better, you know, I feel like I'm kind of worthless. And I think that's my self-talk, Michael, is like, if I'm not constantly feeling like I'm progressing, I make up in my own head that I'm like, I'm losing something. Like I'm worthless. I'm not good enough. I got to do the work. When I'm not doing the work, it has me like, okay, you're not doing the work. So obviously you're probably worthless. And then my mind starts finding evidence of how I'm screwing it all up. Right. So,
Yeah. You
yeah.
know, that reminds me of something Kimmett said, and I believe it was episode 88. I got these, dude. I'm tough.
Yeah, see it,
But
man. Killing it.
I gotta throw the references out there so those vets that are listening that haven't listened to these episodes, they'll be like, oh well, what happened here? You know, he talked about one of his grenades in there was taking care of yourself in all aspects of life. And that's what you're talking about, Chris. You know, spend 2 hours taking care of yourself, getting yourself ready. And that's going to help you with that self-talk. Like for me, it's if I don't get my workout in, I don't hit my devotionals, and I don't spend my time riding the horses to get my head clear. If I don't do those things, then I start to get in my own head and I'm just not clear. I'm not focused. So when I start to get fuzzy or unfocused, go saddle up the horse. Let's go for a ride. Let's clear our head. Think through things, or if I'm super stressed, let's go pump some weights for a little bit and decompress. Yeah. And if we don't do those little disciplines of doing those things that take care of ourselves, we end up more in our head with suffering with those I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I'm just gonna F this up.
Yeah, I agree with that, brother. And I love how you're using these three golden grenades to build off each other, right? Discipline, to having the right mindset, the right self-talk that's working for you versus against you is key. And then the last one, right? What's the last golden grenade that we're going to kind of unpackage here?
The last golden grenade is building your team. Surrounding yourself with the right people. You can surround yourself with as many people as you want, but if they're not the right people, you're not going to be going in the right direction. Yeah. That comes with knowing yourself, knowing your values. Like I was just talking about Kimmett, he talked about learning your values, and you need to know where you stand on things, and you need to align yourself with people that have those same values, that are going to bring those same values to your life. Because if you're associating with people that don't align with you, then they're going to pull you off target. You're not going to finish where you're aiming to go. Like you and I were talking beforehand, it's important to align with, surround yourself with those right people.
Let's start there, right? Like let's like sit there for a little bit, right? Because Kimmett knocked it out of the park. Whenever I saw that he came inside the show and was just like, I'm bringing values to like career development, veterans and stuff like that, I was like, yes, that's what the Ambitious Vet's all about, is, increasing your effectiveness in problem solving, decision-making, conflict management, and everyday life around your core values, right? Hence inside the Ambitious Vet sprint, right? So it is, man. Ambitious Vet, if you're listening to this, that is key, right? You've got to know what you value, what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled, satisfied as you're navigating daily conflicts, major decisions in your life or problems, right? You've got to figure out what you value. I know for myself, I value making a difference. Everything that I do is like, am I making a difference with this? Am I doing it for purpose versus for profit? I've gone out there, I've climbed up a corporate ladder, I've figured out just chasing profits. And, let's face it, I got to, go on some great trips and create some amazing experiences with that. but there's ways to continue to have that lifestyle being for purpose. And it's a hell of a lot better to not just make money, but make money doing what you love. It may take a little bit longer, but it's great. But also, I value family, right? And every single day in my life, I'm constantly figuring out, okay, is this making my family, is this aligned with my family? Is this making my family better? Am I doing this more as an individual, right? How is this impacting my family, right? In daily life. And then I would say and Michael, I'd love for you to unpackage yours, for an ambitious vet that has never identified theirs, to potentially just be like, yeah, I identify with that one. Last one is competence, which is a double-edged sword for me. But competence, if you break that word down, because as we were saying before we recorded, I like to break words down to the origin of them, but it's being efficient and effective, right? And sometimes that limits building a team, hitting on this golden grenade, right? Because you've got to have it all figured out, right, before you start building a team. And that has been one of my biggest crutches from being entrepreneur, building my career in the corporate world and stuff like that I constantly have to get over. And, read books, surround myself with right mentors around team building and stuff like that. So with that being said, man, what would you say your top three core values are?
Man, dependability. I want to be that person, somebody needs something, they know that if they ask me, I'm going to deliver, which goes hand in hand with having integrity, which is another value that I hold really high. Is if people know if they ask or need something from me, that I'm going to deliver. And you don't have much in life, and if people can't take you at your word, then what good is, so being able to, when you say you're going to do something, people know that, yeah, he's actually going to do that. So integrity, dependability. And, I really value making a difference, which is why I'm here on the Ambitious Vet, podcast, helping out, because I want to add value to other veterans' lives. That's why I'm working to create this rehabilitation ranch, because I want to give back and make a difference in the lives of veterans and first responders. Like that's my driving thing, is making a difference, being dependable. People know that they can count on me.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. And it drives you, right? Every day you wake up and, your spouse or your family member walks in, you right there, you got to make a decision off your values. Hey, do you value sleeping in, or do you value waking up and being with that person? So it's good stuff. So how do we build a team from like knowing our values and identifying values, similar values within building a team? And, here's the thing, is it even valuable, right? Is it valuable to find teammates that, may have different values than you, that may bring different angles of, gifts, talents, skill sets, stuff like that to the table? What do you think?
Yeah. One more note on that, you have to know what your values are. If you haven't identified your values, I encourage you to sit down and figure out what values you have, because that's going to motivate you and guide you. If you don't know where your values are, then you can't look for that in other people. And when you identify your values and you start living in your values, you're going to attract people with similar values. And
that's a good point.
Those kind of people, your lifestyle and how you live, that's going to attract like people. So when you know what you want and you know your values, you're going to attract other people that know what they want and have similar values and desires. I think there is value in having people that don't have all the same values. But again, you have to know what values are the most important to you. Now, like those, we talked about our top three, but we have other values. Obviously, those three, they're our top three because they are our core values that are the center of who we are. So I would say you want to find people that align in those areas. maybe not as, it doesn't matter as much if they don't entirely have the same values as your other values, but you definitely don't want somebody that's completely the opposite, like doesn't give a crap about helping people, is only in it to make money. They might have something to offer, but I don't think it makes for as good of a long-term relationship. I feel when you can connect with somebody, you guys have that similar vision, that relationship's a lot easier to manage. You're able to give and take from each other, and it's effortless. Like you and I, Chris, or Otis McGregor's one of my freaking he's one of my mentors. I look up to him a lot, and that's because we have similar vision and focus, and it's effortless. When people have similar values, it's easy to maintain that relationship. You don't have to work as hard at it. It flows.
Right.
When you have people that don't have the same values, you have to work harder. It's like rowing upstream, fighting the current, versus, hey, we're both going the same way.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I think Cal Newport, I may be butchering that, ambitious vet, but he wrote a book called Flow, or Flow State, Flow, something like that. I know John Krotek, a good friend of ours, mentions that book or that concept a lot. And flow, we always try to get into the flow where things are results, opportunities, connections, more money, right? At the end of the day, we want to make sure that if we are living on purpose, doing what we love, we got to make money, keep food on our family's plate, right? That's part of the deal. Just as long as it's not the singular focus, right? You've got to be in the flow with that, to have that consistently be moving forward. And what I'm hearing, what you're saying, and I've gone to probably over 100 conferences or paid to play to be a part of some of the biggest conversations in entrepreneurship in the past 8 years since I've been out of the Marine Corps. And I remember this one trainer, Michael, an ambitious vet that's listening to this, that you just brought to my attention, where it was New Peaks. It was T. Harv Eckerd's seminars that me and a few other Marines paid to be a part of. And he was just like, you'll notice when you're doing what you're meant to be doing on how easy the results are coming. Right. And that is being in line with your values, but how you increase that flow, that stream of opportunities, those results, that more money and stuff like that is bringing in more people that align with those values and know how to consistently behave. And like Michael, you nailed it, man, being consistent with those daily discipline habits and stuff like that within those values, those missions. That's how you get mission completeness. That's how you get more in your life, ambitious vet. And that's why we consistently continue to create content on a weekly basis for you to continue to get the golden grenades, for you to stay in the flow. So you're constantly creating bigger connections, more resources, more opportunities, more cash opportunities within your businesses or your careers, whatever that is for you. Michael, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, when it comes to building your team and your system around you, they're connected to your brand. Like, because I am your casting director, Chris, like I'm tied to your brand. You want people that reflect your brand, because if you bring on people that don't align with you, that's going to affect your business's brand, your personal brand. They're going to impact that. So you want to make sure that people line up with your brand.
That's so true, because whenever you came on board to take this role on, I remember telling Maggie, and ambitious vet, Maggie's my spouse. We're getting married in 25 days. She reminds me every single day. I think this morning she's like, 25 days. I was like, oh, yay. But anyways, I love her. But when you came on, you executed in ways that I've never had anybody come in and execute around the brand. Aside Ben Kalloy earned his, full paid trip to military infantry conference because of what he brought inside of this ecosystem. But the way you execute and how you you don't allow fear to stop you. I mean, ambitious vet, that's what I identify with Michael Parker here. And I identify with the simple Midwestern cowboy values that I was raised upon too. So when you're going out there and you're looking for partners, teammates to, start rolling out projects or career projects, or you're making your next move, your next challenge you're trying to overcome, start finding other people that you can create more flow, more momentum with. And I promise you'll be feeling more satisfied. All right, Michael, man. Well, we've gone through the 3 golden grenades. What's next?
Yeah, that's exactly it. What's next, Chris? What does the future of the Ambitious Vet podcast and the network look like? I mean, when we started this thing, we were supposed to do 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Obviously, here we are. This is episode 17. So we didn't stop. So what's your vision? What's it look like going forward?
Yeah, it's a heavy question, but let me start with what I screwed up on first, because everyone likes to hear what you screwed up on first, and then you kind of build it from there. So Ambitious Vet, this is the first time I've ever gone public with this content, and I thought it would be best to bring it to you, the listener, first, and see if anybody else from all the social media groups will come and listen to the show as well. But you that's listening to this is going to get the first scoop on this. Back in 2019, I was forcing a lot of content that I was repurposing, Michael, and I'm talking to you too here, that, was stuff that made a difference for me after 8 years of, just business, personal and professional development content that I spent over probably $80,000 on, roundabout, give or take, right? To just grow myself professionally and personally, right? For everyday life, just become better for my family, make more money, life, stuff like that, right? And I was just repurposing that content, extracting that content, creating it, and just throwing it up. But I never stopped to actually listen to you, Ambitious Vet, and really figure out what you really wanted, right? So that's what I screwed up on. So, I mean, we've spent the past 3 months doing a qualitative research study that had over 300 plus ambitious vets in 4 countries and 31 states participate with a qualitative research study. If you're one of them, thank you. That have revealed that there is a brand new veteran avatar that's out there in the marketplace that realizes that resume writing, interview prep is a tactic, but it doesn't actually supply X. This qualitative research study, Michael, is revealing everything that an actual ambitious vet is dealing with once they leverage those resources that teach them how to go and get their second, third, or fourth and fifth job. Okay, that's great, but what happens whenever they got financial stability and they're not satisfied? Which, there's stats out there for that. I won't go down the road on that. I think I've nail home a lot. So bottom line, screwed up in 2019. And what we're pivoting into is really starting to create a solid feedback loop with you, Ambitious Vet. And we're about to roll out a white paper. We're partnering up with some of the top institutions in the nation right now. Once I reveal these partnerships, you're going to be like, holy cow. Why are they wanting to partner up with our brand? It's because we are innovating the marketplace, the veteran community, right? You that are listening to this you're just not a normal vet that's trying to get out and increase your disability check. You've probably already done that. Hell, I got mine up to 60%, right? That's great. That's the first 3 years shit to do. But what happens after you start realizing that money isn't that hard to make and you just figuring out what the next challenge is to do? That's who I'm talking to. If that's you, you're in the right place. Well, we're rolling out a white paper, Michael, with some of the top institutions in the nation, which is going to be really exciting because it's going to help educate the Fortune 500 companies that don't know how to hire, retain veterans, and even VSOs that are not knowing how to speak to the post 9/11 millennial veterans. So that's one thing. 2 is we're looking to continue to grow this podcast, Ambitious Vet, and we need to know what topics resonate with you. Do you like the leadership development? Do you like strategy? Do you like career development? Do you like communication? Do you like sales, networking? What is the thing that you are dealing with? Because we want to start increasing the frequency to 1 show to 2, right? And hell, I might have the weekly Cowboy Roundup with Michael Parker. Who knows? If you want that, let me know, where he can extract some of the top golden grenades for you to go and implement in your life. And we'll create worksheets around it. But see, I refuse to continue to create content and products that have made a difference for me if they're not making a difference for you. And I hope that makes sense, Ambitious Vet. Other than that, there's a lot of other cool, innovative things that we're currently collecting all of our resources, our partnerships and stuff like that to create, that I can't really dive into quite yet. But just know that Ambitious Vet, we have created a platform, one of the largest platforms organically with no advertising dollars in the world, called the Ambitious Vet Network. Largest personal and professional development network for post 9/11 veterans, that we plan on building our own platform now, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, all these other places where you can build your groups, it's saturated. But guess what? The Ambitious Vet Network Facebook group was one of the top 3 veteran groups back in 2016 when we were just getting started. So we've been pioneers from the very beginning. We're going to continue to be pioneers, but we can't do it without you, Ambitious Vet. So we're excited. We're excited to create our own platform, create a brand new ecosystem where quality veterans can get quality content and gain results in their life. And finally, pull them away from veteran service organizations that are hiding behind grant money, which is the volume of veterans that go through their programs, not the results they're providing them. So there's a lot of really cool things going down the line. But I mean, if you love the podcast, Ambitious Vet, let us know what content you want. What golden grenades do you want to hear more of? What are some of the guests that you want to hear from? What would you want the second show to be? And that would be the best hope for us. I mean, we want to be at 200 episodes by the end of next year's 2021. I can't even think straight with all this stupid shit going on in the world, man. But yeah, man, that's next.
Also, let us know your landmines, your biggest landmines. What's stopping you, setting you back?
Ooh.
So that way we can bring in guests to speak to that.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, right now we're in a phase where we're raising seed money to start taking the Ambitious Vet Network to the next level, right? And when you're raising money, right, it's a whole new terminology. Just like any domain or industry you get into, the first landmine you hit is you've got to start learning the terminology. If you don't know how to speak the language of that domain, no one will take you serious. So, man, I'm reading a book called Venture Deals. I'm in an accelerator program that's helping me, accelerate my learning curve as far as how to speak to VCs, crowdfunding managers, and angel investors, right? Just so I can gain traction. So just raising money. Being able to speak that terminology. I mean, we've got a great thing going on here, but really learning the terminology would be one. Also, just positive feedback. We really, the second one would be Ambitious Vet to continue to provide feedback. This brand evolves with your feedback. If you get on a show and you don't like it, well, that's kind of your own problem, because you're not giving us feedback. If you don't like it, tell us why, what's missing, right? Let us know that so we can become better for you. Because obviously when you first touched the brand, you liked it enough to start listening to the episodes. So let us know. Do us a favor, do yourself a favor. If you really desire more and want to become more out of the uniform, let us know. What is things that we need to improve on? Better questions, different format of the show, post-production, whatever it is, right? Let us know. That'd be some of the top ones, brother.
Oh yeah.
All right. So is that the completion of the 99 Cowboy Roundup with Michael Parker?
I think that'll just about round them up, Chris.
That's awesome, brother. I appreciate this episode, man. I mean, we haven't done something like this since 2018. I think it's much needed for them to know, one, your face that's kind of behind the curtain that's helping all this happen on the behind scenes, and then kind of, hear my thoughts around how the brand's, evolving, and, some of my authentic thoughts, which is always a good thing.
Most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes I need to have a fucking filter, but that's the Marine in me, brother. All right, Ambitious Vets. Well, hey, if you've lasted this long inside the episode, thank you very much. We're excited for the guests that are coming up in the next coming weeks. Next week, we will get started right back inside the trenches with providing you even more golden grenades to stay unstuck in your life, career, and business. Take care.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Again, thanks to our sponsor, Original Grain. They make watches with materials that tell a story. Ambitious Vet, look no further if you're ready to wear something with meaning, the very thing that you're looking for in your life, career, and business. It's more than a watch. It's a conversion piece and a conversation starter. Each timepiece is one of a kind, just like you. Find your perfect watch now by visiting originalgrain.com. Remember, if you find anything that you like Ambitious Vet, make sure to enter in code AMV Network 10 to get your 10% off discount. Again, that's originalgrain.com. Enter in code AMV Network 10 to apply your 10% off Ambitious Vet discount.